Good evening, friends. Dennis LaRue here, your Chief Inspiration Officer, your Chief Encouragement Officer, and Weekly Wingman with your hashtag Steel Toes Required Quote of the Week, episode 22. Can you believe it? 22 straight weeks we've been together with a quote that has stepped on our toes, that's got us uncomfortable, that's got us in a position of growth. And now here we are again. Now last week I asked the question from my mentor Mark Cole, who said, when was the last time your life made someone else's hungry? And your action step was to make someone else's life hungry. So, did you do it? Did you do it? Did you make somebody else's life hungry? Here's what I can tell you. Amy, I'm glad you're here. I can tell you for a fact, last week in Orlando, not only did I make people's lives hungry, but boy, I met a whole lot of people who made me hungry. Amy, you're one of them. You always make me hungry, my friend. I appreciate you. And so, what did you do? What did you do? Because again, this hashtag Steel Toes Required isn't to give you information. It's not to give you education. As a matter of fact, a lot of the things that I tell you aren't new. It's to give you the difference between knowledge is what you do with that knowledge. So it's application and execution. That's what it's all about. Application and execution. So as we get into our quote this week, hey, Melanie, so good to meet you last week. Thank you for coming up and looking for me and letting me know. I'm so glad you're here again today. Yes, I did, Amy. I changed my view just to show you that I can grow. I learned a new technique on how to use Facebook more effectively. And so you can actually read the books behind me and see what those titles are instead of in reverse. So big shout out to the Rollins clan for doing that for me. Love the Rollins, and they taught me that, and so I applied it instantly. So here we are. So who's ready for the quote this week? Who is ready for the quote? Just tell me right now in the comments that you are ready for this week's Steel Toes Quote of the Week. Hey, Bill, I see you out there. I'm glad you're here. All right, I see some hearts. Come on, give me some more hearts. Give me some more thumbs up. Say you're ready in the comments. Gail's ready. All right. Hey, Gail, good to see you. All right, here we go. Here's the quote. Get your steel toes on. It's going to hurt. I promise you this is going to hurt, but I think it's also going to bring you to a new level of awareness. So here we go. Here's the quote. And it comes from David Icke, who said this. Hey, Robert. Hey, Laura. Glad you're here. The quote is this. The greatest prison people live in is the fear of what other people think. I'm going to say that again. The greatest prison people live in is the fear of what other people think. And that is David Icke. Now, normally, my memory is really good, and I can tell you when I learned this quote and where I picked this quote up from or what book or what teacher, but I'll be honest with you. I don't remember, but here's what I do remember. I remember the impact the first time I read this quote, and it knocked me on my feet. And here's why. I can remember many times in my life, particularly as a kid in school, where I was concerned, where I actually didn't take action because of what other people thought. Or I can also remember living up to the expectations of others because of how they thought. There were some teachers I had in school that saw my potential. They inspired me, they motivated me, and they also put up with me at the same time. I was not exactly your most quiet kid in class. And then I had other teachers who thought I was just a goof off and a clown and, treated me. They didn't treat me with the exact same potential. And so I didn't rise to their level of expectation. I dropped below their level of expectation. That's how my mindset was. And so, you know what? I lived in their prisons. Now, here's what I'm not saying. If you have kids, many of you have kids, what I'm not saying is for kids to be disrespectful. And I'm not saying that teachers should not play a role in people's lives. Man, I've got some great teachers that have poured into me and helped put me on a trajectory for where I'm at now. I'm also not saying, don't listen to your parents, kids, listen to your parents. But here's what I am saying. The people who are in your life that you fear, that you turn into fear, who are those people in your life that you allow them to box you up in fear? And it keeps you from living to your full potential. Who are they? Nathan Cook, woo, brother. Glad to see that you're here. But think about that for a minute. You see, it's critical who you allow to speak into your life. Not everybody that speaks into your life deserves that position. You have to be careful. You also need to realize, too, that if the people in your life you're allowed to speak into your life are not the people you need in your life, then you've got to root them out. You've got to uproot those people and break away. You also need to replace those people with people you will let speak in your life. It's so important. This life wasn't meant to be lived like a bunch of Lone Rangers. Even the Lone Ranger had Tonto. Jesus had his disciples. Everybody needs somebody to speak into their lives. But what's important is the fear part. Catch this quote again. The greatest prison people live in is the fear of what other people think. Oh my goodness. I remember in high school where I broke free from this thought. I'll never forget this because it was a race. And in this race was the state champion in cross country, and he also was a district champ in the mile. This guy was the bomb. This guy was unbeatable. He went undefeated in cross country, and I raced him, and he beat me. So here I am on a track now, and I remember being on the bus that day, and I remember saying to everybody on the bus, I'm going to beat this guy today. And I can't repeat some of the words some of my teammates said to me that day, but ultimately they said that I was full of crap. They said, there's no way, Dennis, that you're going to beat this guy today. Just stop it. So I went out in that race that day. And I remember I was boxed in on the last lap. And I was able to break free, get to the outside, and in the last 50 meters, I beat him. I won the race that day. And that day taught me a very valuable lesson. That what I believe about myself is far more important than what anybody else believes about me. It starts with me first. And if I'm afraid to win the race, then I don't need to worry about being in a prison in somebody else's words about me. I'm in a prison in my own mind and in my own life. And that day I broke free from being afraid of what others thought about me. So, again, who are you allowing in your life to speak fear? Because know what you're doing? You're locking yourself in a prison and you're holding the key to get out while you're locked in the prison. And you're choosing to stay locked up. So, cut that person loose, take that key, unlock the door, and free yourself. Free yourself today. Because you can't accomplish your purpose in life if you're living in fear from what it is you want to accomplish. You can't do it. And you know what? Average people will always try to keep you from fulfilling your purpose. Average hates excellence. Remember that? We've had this discussion before. Average hates excellence. Mediocre hates excellence. People who strive to go for it all will always have people try to talk them away from greatness. Always. And you know why they do that? Because it exposes their mediocrity. It exposes them to themselves, and they don't like it. So, here you go. Here's the quote one last time. The greatest prison people live in is the fear of what other people think. Start right now. It's here in San Antonio, we're starting to get some green grass, some weeds. It's time for you to pull up the weeds. Pull up the weeds of those people who are creating fear in your life. Uproot them. Get rid of them. It won't feel good. Pulling up roots, I'm a relational kind of guy. Pulling up those roots stinks. I don't like it. But sometimes it has to be done. In order to get to where you want to go, you gotta do things you've never done before. And one of those may be uprooting people in your life that are speaking fear and imprisoning you. Quit imprisoning yourself. You've got the key to the jail cell, and get going. You got to think outside the box, and average people try to keep you inside the box. Stay outside the box. All right. Whew. Man, grow roses, not weeds. Thanks, Mom. That's good. And Melanie, that's right. Get rid of them weeds now. Pull them up. Pull them up now. Average is a bad word. That's right, Amy. Average and mediocrity is a bad word. So that's your action step. Your action step is to review those people closest to you. Who are the people that you allow to speak into your life? And then review what they're speaking into you. Does it create a sense of fear in your life? Or does it create a sense of encouragement? Does it inspire you? Does it take you to the next level in your life? And then, those that speak fear, you need to uproot those. You need to uproot those. I can remember I can remember a couple of years ago hearing something that created a great sense of fear and doom in me. And after evaluating the source, it was a reliable source, but you know what? I had to let that source go because what was spoken didn't happen. So remember, you got to be careful who you let speak into your life. And so with that, folks, did that touch your life? Melanie, become a good listener, become aware, and then act with the axe. I love it. Take the axe to the root of the root and get rid of that root. I love it. Melanie, that is awesome. And Amy, I appreciate you. Steel Toes Required rocks. So good. All right. So with that, it's time for my favorite part, the blessing. The blessing. And so I pray the blessing of bread that you know no hunger. I pray the blessing of salt, that your life would be filled with flavor and flavorful to others. And I pray the blessing of wine, that prosperity and joy would be yours forever and ever, starting right now. And that the love of God would be your portion today and forevermore. Folks, thank you so much for joining me here on hashtag Steel Toes Required. Before we say goodnight, do me a favor. If this added value to you, would you do me the honor and just hit share and share this with the friends and folks in your network or somebody that comes to mind? Maybe somebody you know needs to hear this message. Would you do me the honor of sharing and help me achieve my goal? I want to reach 1 million people with this year. That's a crazy, outrageous goal, but I can't do it alone, and I need your help. Would you do that for me? It would be a great honor and a privilege if you would. And so, with that, this week, dig up those roots, think outside the box, and also, remember, believe in you first. When you believe in you, you know what? You start attracting those people that believe in you too. All right. This is Dennis LaRue with your hashtag Steel Toes Required quote of the week. Blessings to you all. Have a great one. Take care, my friends. Bye for now.